I've audited a lot of Google Ads accounts by now, and the framework I use for writing headlines has led to some massive gains, and I'm going to share with you exactly how you can improve your campaigns by up to 28% in terms of conversions by using my ad framework. I'm going to share it all with you so you can swipe and deploy this into your campaigns. Let's get going. Let's face it, Google Ads is basically all about numbers and managing data, but ads are the only area where it comes to creativity and connecting emotionally with the audience, kind of the only inroad from Google Ads into traditional advertising, and that is messaging. And it's something a lot of PPC people really struggle with. So because of this, I've actually systemized the creativity. So I suppose I've taken some of the fun out of creativity, but this framework hasn't set me wrong yet. So where do we begin? The first thing you want to do is get a pen and paper, or maybe a Google Doc if you're digital minded like me, and you want to start making notes here, because here is what we're going to do. Take a moment to write an exhaustive list of all of the USPs and benefits of your business. Now, this is something a lot of advertisers I speak to have never ever done, which is incredible to me, but it's actually what I see every single day when I'm looking at Google Ads. Businesses often don't do this, but it's so important. Take a moment and think, what would make me pick your business over your competitor's business? What is so good about what you do? What can you offer me as a customer if I were coming to your business? Write down everything you can think of, from tangible benefits and intangible benefits for your business. Don't know what those things are? Let me explain. A tangible benefit is something that's matter of fact. It's something you can measure. If your price is a set amount, then that number in your pricing is a tangible benefit, especially if your pricing is particularly cheap. So say, for example, you are a window cleaner and you say you can clean an entire house's windows from £10. That £10 is a very cheap value, and the customer is going to see that and see that actually I'm going to get a great deal here. So that £10 entry-level pricing that you have, and you obviously honor in a lot of cases, is a tangible benefit, something that you can see and validate and measure, and it's a matter of fact within your business. That is a tangible benefit. Or for example, if you're running an active promotion and you're offering 10% off all purchases, again, that is a statement of fact, and it ties back to a number, and it's something that can be validated instantaneously. Therefore, it is a tangible benefit. Write all of these down. The reason I've started you off by listing tangible benefits is because they are the most important, because they often tie back to numbers, and customers making decisions about what to get online like to see numbers. In fact, studies from places like Scientific American reinforce this. Their studies show that people are drawn to numbers in advertising because they show signs of trustworthiness and something that's concrete. So it's a really important place to start, and I always advise advertisers to start off by listing tangible benefits and using numbers, because they really stand out on the search results page. In contrast, you have intangible benefits. Now, these intangible benefits are things that customers cannot validate as soon as they hit your website landing page. Tangible, they can see the numbers. Intangible are just things you're telling them about your product and service. But that's not a bad thing, and it doesn't make them less important than tangible benefits, because these intangible benefits are things that tie back to human emotion. And in the world of advertising, human emotion is just as important as the logical side. People justify with logic, but buy with emotion. So it's important to cover both bases. And that's why the framework I use for writing headlines includes both of those types of headline. Intangible benefits don't always have to be emotional though, because you can use statements about your products and services. Like, for example, if you're manufacturing furniture, you can say you use high quality materials, or you manufacture with precision. These are things customers can't validate immediately, but they're very good things to mention if they are indeed things you do. And I suppose a lot of businesses do this, even if they aren't a matter of fact. But going back to the emotional side, think about lines for a car detailing business, for example. How can you tie that service to an emotional characteristic in a potential customer? Maybe things like fall in love with your car again, or have pride in your car again, or something like that. Or even something like get people to look at your car, or make your car a head turner. I don't know. I don't work in that sector, but just off the top of my head, these are the kind of things I'd be thinking if I were a car detailing business looking at an intangible headline potential for my ad that ties back to emotion. So get writing, write as many down as you can, because the next step of this process gets very interesting. Because next you're going to pick your top 5 benefits. These can be both tangible and intangible, just your best 5. The 5 things that from experience within your business, resonates with customers. These 5 benefits are going to go into your ads as headlines. You're going to write headlines for these 5 benefits. Now, I can already hear you asking me, Darren, hold on a second. Google Ads allows for 15 headlines. Why am I writing just 5? Well, we'll get on to that. The reason we've written just 5 headlines and the reason they are specifically all about unique selling points and benefits for your business is because my framework has 5 headlines of 3 different types. You've already covered just now the USPs and benefit headlines. I also want you to think about keyword relevant headlines and call to action headlines. So let's go into those in a bit more detail. Keyword relevant headlines are self-explanatory. Google likes you to use keywords in your headlines, and they signal this when you go into Google Ads and you start writing headlines. You can see that every time you add a keyword within your ad group into a headline, Google confirms this with a green check mark to say that you've done it, and it's something that's a good action that they like to see. And of course, when it comes to Google Ads relevancy, quality scores, ad rank, all of those factors, relevance is so important. So adding keywords into your headline is a no-brainer. It's something you should be doing. So dedicate 5 of those headline spots to keywords. But I've got 2 pro tips for you. Firstly, dedicate one of those 5 slots to using dynamic keyword insertion. If you don't know what that is, it basically allows you to insert the keyword that triggered your ads into your ad directly, maximizing relevance based on the user's search. It does this dynamically based on the user's search term that triggered your keyword. If you don't know how to set this up, it's a very simple syntax, and I've linked in the description below exactly how to set this up. It's quite a common thing in Google Ads, and because it's so common, I'm not going to cover it specifically in this video, but you should be using this in one of those 5 headlines about your keywords. Pro tip number 2 is another ad operator. This time it's all about the location insertion. This allows you to insert the user's nearest identifiable location directly into the ad. So if the user is in, say, Balham in South London, then that word Balham will be inserted into the ad. And you can get clever with this because, again, going back to a car detailing company example, you could insert that name of that town or city the user is in dynamically into the headline. So you could write to the headline, car detailing in, and then the operator for the location insertion, making the ad relevant to anybody, anywhere within your target area who is clicking your ad or potentially clicking your ad. It gives them the location they're currently in, making the ad even more relevant. So if your business is location focused, this could be a good way to really up your click-through rate as well. Again, a very simple syntax for this. I'm not going to describe it in this video, but I've linked a guide in the description below. And lastly, we're going to go through the call to action based headlines, because it's important to have call to action in your ads, because believe it or not, users like being reassured as to what the action they need to take is on the other side of the click through to your website. Think of things like saying book now, book a call online, book a meeting, take a free trial, whatever the action is within your business that you want the user to take, write it down as a call to action and write variations on that. And you can also use a spin on this as well to turn that call to action into a USP as well. So book now to save money or whatever it might be, you can tie the 2 together and really create calls to action that both tell the user what they need to do when they get to your website, but also make sure they understand the benefits and USPs if they take that action as well. So now you've covered all 15 headlines available within the ad unit, but we're not done yet, because there's one consideration you need to make, and that is about pinned versus unpinned content in the headlines. Now, a lot of advertisers like to pin content in place to control the messaging. So they'll pin a headline in position 1, pin a headline in position 2, pin a headline in position 3. And then by doing that, they have full control over the ad's messaging. Now, this can work only if you are actively testing and implementing A/B testing in your ads on a consistent basis. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the majority of accounts I audit, people who do this are not doing any kind of testing. They're just preempting it and saying, I know what works best. I think I'll just do it because I think this is going to work best. They're not really testing any ad content. So in those scenarios, I say, don't do that. Do this instead. What you want to think about is, first of all, before doing any kind of pinned content testing, is just testing whether you should be pinning ads in the first place. Test and see see what an unpinned ad can do for your campaigns. If you're already pinning content, and if you're not pinning content, it's worth testing what pinning content can do. But there's a good and a bad way to pin content. The best starting point at pinning content is to test variations of the messages you want to pin. That gives Google some opportunity to optimize headlines and show different variations of messaging with its algorithm when it's bidding, but also allowing you to control the messaging that they are actually showing. So you could pin, for example, 3 headline variations of the message you want to say in position 1, and another 3 variations of that headline message in position 2 and 3, and that will give you an opportunity to test pinning content, but also give yourself an opportunity to test variations of that pinned content. But generally speaking, across most accounts I audit, most accounts that I've been running for a while, in about 80% of them, unpinned ads outperform the pinned content. And I don't know why this is quite often. It could be down to Google just getting better at what it's doing, at serving the right content to the right user at the right time with all the opportunities it has with the different headlines. But in all honesty, it could just be a simple case of if you write 15 headlines, there's a lot of opportunities there and it will just find the best ones. And what you'll often find is after you're running an account for a while, Google will find its favorite headlines. And that's not a bad thing, because as long as you've put effort into finding those headlines, that's okay, because they could be the ones that resonate best with your user base of people who you're advertising to. I'm going to put together a video to show you exactly how I A/B test ad content on Google Ads, but that's not for this video. This video is all about the framework for writing good headlines. And when I've implemented this, I see gains in pretty much every account I do it within. And the biggest gain I've made is 28% improvement in the number of conversions being generated by virtue of getting more clicks with a better click-through rate. And that is the power of writing powerful headlines. So there it is. That is the framework I use for writing headlines in Google Ads. And one of the things that you need to remember is there's nothing worse than going into Google Ads, creating a campaign, hitting the ad creation stage, and just inserting the content Google has automatically populated into headlines because there's no thought behind it. Google has just scanned your website, used AI, and populated those headlines. You want to take a step back and think about your business in detail. So when you get to that page, you don't panic and just put in whatever you want, or just think, I need to get this campaign live as soon as possible. So don't take time out to do this. This framework prevents all of that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know in the comments how you write your text ads, and if you found this as a valuable resource for writing ads in future, let me know in the comments. I reply to pretty much all comments on all of my new videos. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one, and don't forget to subscribe.